Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the City of Menasha Administration Committee meeting to order. Clerk Kraut-Kramer, could we have the roll, please?
Alderman Rapella. Here. Alderman Nichols.
Here.
Alderman Eisenach.
Here.
Alderman Sevenik. Here. Alderman Hammond. Here. Alderman Schmidt. Here. Alderman Tom Grady. Here. Alderman Ted Grady. Here. All are present.
Thank you. The first item of business this evening is to approve the Administration Committee meeting minutes from our regular meeting on May 16th and our special meeting on May 16th, 2022. Is there a motion? Alderman Rapella.
Thank you very much. I'll make a motion to approve the Administration Committee minutes for May 16th, 2022, and the other May 16th, 2022, the special meeting. So.
Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Rapella and a second from Alderman Ted Grady to approve the minutes of both meetings. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The minutes are approved. Our first item this evening is a rather unusual one that I'm sure many of you are asking and have questions about. It is a reconsideration of assessment of demerit points and liquor license suspension for KN LLC doing business as Menasha Marathon at 209 Racine Street. You'll also notice that there is not a name behind that reconsideration, as we are familiar with for other motions to reconsider. So let me just recap how we got here today. You'll recall the events of May 16th at our special meeting where demerit points and license suspension were issued to this license holder based on known violations that happened over the course of the last year. After that action, Mr. Subedi called me and asked if I would be willing to reconsider that suspension of the license, and I said I was not, but I consulted with the city attorney about possible other options, and so I presented him with two options. The first was to call other aldermen to see if they would be willing or interested in reconsidering the suspension. And the second option was to submit a letter to the clerk's office by noon on June 2nd explaining why he thought reconsideration was warranted, and if the letter was submitted on time, it would be placed in the packet for possible action. And I presented those options based on my conversations with Attorney Captain. So that brings us to today and the request for consideration by the license holder that's on our agenda, not by an alderperson. And I have explained this to Mr. Subedi as well this evening. And there are two options for the committee. The first option is no action, which means that the suspension and assessment of demerit points would stand. And by no action, that means there's no motion, there's no second. Everything remains the same. The second option is that an alderperson can make a motion to reconsider, understanding that 2/3 majority is needed for the motion to be reconsidered. That means that at least six members need to vote yes for the action to be reconsidered. So those are the options before the council right now. And with that, I will ask, is there a motion to reconsider? Seeing no motion to reconsider, the assessment of demerit points and suspension of the liquor license is upheld, and Attorney Captain will be in touch with you, Mr. Subedi, to talk about the next steps for the license holder. Okay? Thank you. The second item of business this evening is ordinance 1322, an ordinance approving the detachment of territory from the city of Menasha to the village of Fox Crossing, owned by Greater Fox Cities Area Habitat for Humanity. Director Schrader, if you could explain the details and the situation of this property.
Certainly.
Thank you.
So attached to the memo is a location map, just to kind of set the tone here. So this property is located along Taco Street. If you're driving north on Taco, if you're just passing the 9th Street boat launch, you go under the 441 bridge there, and it is the vacant property just to the right. So these properties were acquired by the state as part of the 441 project. The adjoining property is owned by Habitat for Humanity. They did approach the state in interest to acquire this small piece of property from the state. They were able to acquire that through a quitclaim deed, basically with the interest of combining that to their larger site. This property, the benefit this allows them to do is basically to construct an additional home. So while the lot is completely unbuildable and is currently tax exempt within the city of Menasha, it is less than an acre. What it does is it adds additional frontage to the Habitat lot to allow them to construct an additional home. Again, as kind of noted, there is no real benefit for this property to be within the city of Menasha. So in working with the community and supporting Habitat for Humanity, staff would recommend that the administration committee approve this ordinance to detach the land and attach it to the city of Menasha, or to the village of Fox Crossing. Just for reference, the village of Fox Crossing, because it's an attachment detachment, would have to approve an ordinance similar to this, actually attaching the property to become official. As we've seen, both municipalities do need to approve those ordinances.
So to summarize, the parcel in question is separated from the city. It is an undevelopable piece of property due to its size, and Habitat would like to acquire it to build some homes in the village of Fox Crossing.
The only correction would be that they already have acquired it, just
Right.
being within two different municipalities, they cannot combine that obviously with their larger project.
And they've acquired it from the state of Wisconsin, DOT. Thank you. Alderman Sevenick.
Thank you, Chair. At this time, I'll make a motion to recommend to the Common Council ordinance 01322 relating to the detachment of vacant land being portion of parcel 2-00803-00 from the city of Menasha to the village of Fox Crossing.
Second. I'm sorry, I thought I was seconding it, but I didn't ask for one. Let's see, Alderman Hammond.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to share with everyone that I will abstain from voting for this. I'm employed by the Greater Fox Cities Area Habitat for Humanity.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Director Schrader has one more thing to add.
Sorry about that. Roger Roth with Habitat for Humanity today, just right before the meeting, noted to me that there was an additional sliver of land that was not included in this. We were kind of going back and forth whether or not that is actually already within the village or within the city. So while this doesn't affect this ordinance, in case a small sliver does come back, that was 100% my fault. So I just wanted to note that. Thanks.
You're welcome. Alderman Sevenick.
I just wanted to add, if that is the case, that it does go to council, and if there is a need for that correction, that can be added later on.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Motion carries 7-0.
With one abstention. And with that, we'll look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Alderman Rapella, second by Alderman Ted Grady to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.